If I had to describe Kedarnath in one word, it's emotion. Raw, soul stirring, unforgettable. It's that lump in your throat when the temple finally appears after hours of struggle and silence. The tears you didn't expect, the calm you didn't know your soul craved. Join me on this yatra where every step through the mountains leads you deeper within. That's me grinning year to year back in my beloved Himalayas. First solo trip here, and honestly, feels like coming home. These mountains, ancient and alive, do something to my soul. I could have waited till October when yatra's easier, but no, my heart had other plans. After some intense Google scrolling and ignoring all common sense, I picked late June. Post-school holidays, pre-monsoon chaos. I landed in Dehradun, cruised through Rishikesh and hit Kaudiyala. Stayed at Raviara by the Ganges. Riverside bliss at Indian Chinese so good my foodie soul gave it 5 stars. Next morning I set off for Sitapur. The last time I had been in these mountains was as a child on a family trip to Badrinath. As we drove past Devprayag and Rudraprayag, something stirred, a quiet sense of belonging, as if the land itself remembered. There is something about these ancient sangams, they awaken something deep. But that's a story for another vlog. Somewhere along the beautiful drive, I saw devotees walking 200 kilometers to Govind Ghat. No selfies, no drama, just faith. That moment, yes, that moment shaped my journey. It's 6:30 a.m. and the world's just waking up. But in Sonprayag, the last private motorable point in this yatra, there's a strange electric buzz in the air, part excitement, part sheer confusion. Also, this is where your yatra registration gets scanned. I've dropped all the nerdy logistics and detailed itinerary in the description below. Luggage dumped in the hotel's locker room. Shout out to Kedar River Retreat Sitapur. Backpacks tightened, raincoats buckled, heart already racing. Because what lies ahead is a 4-kilometer drive in shared jeeps, followed by 18 kilometers of sheer willpower. Or 22 if you believe the local ghodawalas. But first, the chaos, because this is India and no spiritual journey is complete without a dose of logistical masala. At the confluence of Mandakini and Vasuki, I had no time for poetry, only panic. 4 kilometers took me over an hour and a half. Why? Check out the Instagram link in the description. The ride from Sonprayag to Gaurikund? More Himalayan obstacle course than drive. Narrow roads, falling stones and a drizzle with no plans to leave. Our driver unfazed dropped us a kilometer early. Bas, yahin tak. Aage traffic jam hai. So there I was, rain-soaked, sleep-deprived and already running behind time. And then the Himalayas, towering and dramatic. But the faces around me told a different story, blank or set in quiet determination. After all, what lay ahead was no ordinary trek. A 22-kilometer climb from 6,500 to 11,800 feet, along a trail that had recently claimed lives. Enter Mr. Singh, mule broker, pathfinder, part-time Himalayan hustler. He spotted me instantly and promised me top-class mule, madam, like helicopter, but on four legs. Before I could even protest, he yanked my backpack off my shoulder and became my local guide. I made a quick stop at Gaurikund temple and its hot spring. This is where Parvati performed intense tapasya for Shiv. Love that eventually culminated in their divine marriage at Triyogi Narayan, 11 kilometers from Sonprayag. Gaurikund is also linked to the legend of how Ganesha got his elephant head. The sulfur spring here, Taptakund, is believed to have healing properties, and traditionally, the yatra begins with a dip in its water. If you look closely, this entire space is about union of Shakti and Shiv, a trek from lower to higher. Mr. Singh's assistant, a kind, patient man, handed me the reins of Bhairav, a handsome white mule radiating serious main character energy. And just like that, my energy began on a slightly grumpy mule clutching the saddle's hand grip, headed towards Kedarnath. The discomfort set in almost immediately. The path was broken, uneven, and alive with slipping hooves and sudden jerks. The first hour, a full-blown adventure. I have skydived with a smile, but here I let out more than a few of pure fear. First stop, Chirvasa Bhairav Temple. The story of this temple and of Kedarnath itself comes in part 2. Don't miss it. The trail wound through jungle Chatti, Bhimbali before reaching New Bridge near Rambada. Thick fog blanketed in the park. Stalls lined the way, blue tarpaulin roofs forming a patchwork density, creating a barrier between me and the Himalayas. They sold everything from hot chai to questionable raincoats. Of course, my dream of spiritual bliss as I rode the mule was constantly interrupted by the reality of riding in a foggy, slippery chaos. I imagined chanting, Om Namah Shivaya. Instead, I was chanting, Don't slip, hold tight, don't slip, hold tight. Two hours in, I thought I'd conquered the worst. But then came the stretch towards Lincholi. Steeper, narrower, more chaotic. Mules, humans, luggage, and sheer madness, each craving space through the stone steps. I didn't dare pull out my camera. I didn't dare move. I held on to that saddle grip like it was the thread between me and the afterlife. As I grew more comfortable with Bhairav, I began to see stories etched on every face along the way. An old man climbing with nothing but faith. A young man studying his elderly mother with quiet patience. A silent sadhu walking like he's done this for lifetimes. A man pushing his bicycle uphill, having cycled across the country to get here. A mother on a mule holding her child, masking her fear with forced bravery. A young woman, eyes glistening with tears, already worn by the climb. Hello, cheerful trekker, his laughter echoing through the valley, his energy infectious. A middle aged woman carrying a Bluetooth speaker, blaring Namo Namo Shankara like a personal soundtrack. A man ready to pick a fight with the Ghodawalas after being trimmed. Two young sisters in a pittu comforting each other. An old lady chanting softly as she's carried uphill on a palki. And me, somewhere in between. You start to wonder, why am I really here? And then you stop wondering because the mountain answers, not in words, but in that strange silent calm that slowly replaces your doubt. Everyone talks about darshan at Kedarnath, and yes, it is powerful. But for me, the real moment wasn't inside the temple, it was out here, on the trail, in the cold rain, in the slippery paths and burning legs, in the strangers who prayed silently beside me, in the breath I couldn't catch, and the surrender that followed. I'm not even a spiritual beginner. Honestly, I was just someone who showed up, unsure and a little lost. But this walk, it stripped away the noise, the comfort. And what was left felt closer to something I still can't explain, something one cannot put in words. Maybe that's what a true yatra is. Not just a trip, but a kind of sadhana, where every step, every stumble becomes a quiet offering. After 4.5 hours with just one 15-minute break, Bhairav finally trotted into the pony stand near Kedarnath. My legs, jelly. But it was my shoulders and palms that screamed. I had been so focused on training my legs, I forgot the muscle it takes to hold on to dear life. One cup chai, one long pause, and then I began the final 1.5 km walk to the GMVN's Fargarohini. I was getting closer to Kedar. A check-in, a short break, and a 0.5 kilometer. That's all that stood between me and him. And then I saw it. A light mist had rolled in. The sky was grey, and suddenly there he was. The Kedarnath temple. Carved from stone, cradled by mountains, standing there like it was for centuries, unfazed by weather, time, or human drama. I froze, not from cold, but from emotion. I had seen photos, videos, drone shots, but nothing prepares you for that first glimpse, the direct eye contact between the soul and divine. But my darshan had to wait a little longer because I had picked up the Abhisheka ticket, valid only between midnight and 3 a.m. Yeah, the divine calls at odd hours. Want to experience it too? Check out the description for the booking links to these special pujas. A cold drizzle had set in meantime, the kind that seeps through your skin and spirit. There was no shelter. Hundreds of us, most out from darshan, were left scrambling in the rain. I sat on the stone steps in the front of the temple, umbrella barely helping, soaked and silent for hours. My mind held just one thought: the evening aarti. As the temple's light flickered to life, I stood near the entrance eagerly awaiting the 7 p.m. aarti. And then an unexpected presence appeared beside me. A dog. And not just any dog. Malu. Majestic and alert. His eyes blazed like fire. He responded to my calls but never came close. He wasn't there for affection, he was on duty, standing guard on the temple step, as if protecting something far beyond human understanding. He stayed there, silent and watchful, until his caretaker quietly led him away just before the aarti. As I continued waiting, a sadhu noticed me, standing silently by the entrance. He spoke to me softly and shared a few simple words. And when I offered a small dakshina, he smiled and said, "Not everything is about dakshina." It wasn't just a sentence, it was a teaching. And in that moment, the entire experience felt a little closer to Shiv. After a long wait, the aarti for Mukhund Bhairav, Nandi and Ganesha finally began outside the temple around 8:30 p.m., an hour later than scheduled. The Raval, the priest performing the aarti, wasn't just conducting a ritual, he was the ritual. His movements, his intensity, his presence. It was as if he had disappeared into the very act of devotion, and somehow he was pulling all of us in with him. Later, I found out his name, Sri Bhagesh Ling. Next in line to the chief Raval, Bhima Shankar Ling from Davangere, Karnataka. But even in these divine settings, there were cracks in devotion. Men claiming to be temple staff shoved aside devotees who had waited for hours to secure a spot for the arti and took their places instead. One random guy tried to tell me to give up my spot because I had shoes on. I looked at him and said what every tired, drenched, determined pilgrim would want to say: Shoo! People don't seem to understand that every shortcut, every lie, every deception taken in a sacred place may bring momentary gain, but it writes a lifetime of karma. Any kshetra isn't a place to manipulate, it's a place to melt, to dissolve, to become nothing. And if you wait long enough, even in the rain, even cold, tired, soaked to your skin, Shiva will show up in a sadhu's smile, in a dog's silent watch, in the fire of the arti, and in the stillness that follows. I came here alone, but I was never lonely. There was grace in every cloud, a blessing in every stranger, and Shiva in every form I didn't expect to find him in. And just when I thought it couldn't get more surreal, I experienced the Garbhagriha and Jyotirling itself during the midnight Abhisheka and the evening Aarti, both in an intimate, almost personal proximity. I stood face to face with legendary Bhukan Bhairav, ran my hand along Bhim Shila, the massive boulder that saved the shrine from destruction. Spoke to sadhus who live and breathe nothing but devotion. That's a story deserving its own silence. I'll share it with you in the next chapter of this yatra. Until then, if you ever feel lost, stuck, or unsure what's next, walk towards the Himalayas. They may not give you the answers, but they'll dissolve the questions. See you in the next episode. Om Namah Shivaya.